The sales during Black Friday and through the holiday season get me every year. Last year, I bought a Sonoff TH10, a Tuya Wi-Fi switch for my garage door, this USB Zigbee and Z-Wave stick, and an Amazon Basics light switch. None of which I ever got working or did anything substantial with. It's wasted money, and with smart home products about to change so much, plus the massive shift going on in the world's economy, it's time we all had a hard look at what we're buying. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and you know I like to save your time, and one of the ways that I try to do that is by keeping more money in your pocket. One of the companies that usually has a pretty good Black Friday sale is one of the ones that I'm going to start with, and it might be surprising. I am not buying anything from Google Nest at all, and honestly, maybe ever again. I'm going to give you 3 points as to why I won't buy any of Google's stuff on sale right now. In 2022, Google released exactly one smart home product, which was the Nest Video Doorbell Wired. If you look at that product, it's basically the same thing as the 2021 battery version I'm holding here, and it really wouldn't have been much effort for Google to release it. It makes me question if they're putting any investment into hardware at all anymore, that this was it. Months before that product released, I noticed that Google had put the previous version of the wired doorbell, the Nest Hello, on sale with heavy discounts. I even got comments about this on the channel, so I wasn't the only one who noticed this, and some of the comments included people who were very upset that Google had done this. So I don't trust the sales right now, not to be on something they're maybe done with. The Google Assistant has been sluggish, to say the least, and it's just plain worse in 2022 than it was in 2021. Responses take forever to come back, and we're not getting any new features really. So from my perspective, Google has decided that the smart home space isn't something they can keep up with, and they have a terrible track record when it comes to tearing down product offerings. If you need an example of that, the Works with Nest program is still almost completely up in the air and has messed with many people's homes. I could give you about 20 other examples if I wanted to, but in the end, there's too much risk for you to be buying doorbells and cameras and smart displays that are very expensive when I just don't trust where the platform is headed. And this is hard to single out too, because let's be honest and say that some of the best lighting products in the industry come from Govi. However, if you subscribe to the idea that the Matter standard will matter, and or you want to use Govi with more products and more systems than just Google and Amazon, then this is a company that hasn't stated their intentions around Matter, and they haven't shown any growth in terms of the integrations that their products have since they've started producing devices. So their products are fantastic, but if you want your home to be platform agnostic or be able to switch between different platforms for control, then Govi just isn't looking that way. Now for me, they are fantastic lighting products, and the features you get within their app really make them worth it on their own in a lot of cases. So I'm not saying don't buy these guys' products, but if your priorities are pointed in the direction of some of the ways I just mentioned, then you really are going to want to look at something else like Philips Hue. I just mentioned the Matter standard, and for those of you who don't know what I mean there, this is something that the entire smart home industry came together on, and they've tried to standardize how your products connect. Now, when you see the Matter logo, what that should mean is that you can buy a product and know that it will work with the rest of your smart home that has that same logo on it, no matter what it is. We are still a ways from that vision, but that's the goal. The big news in the past 2 months has been the release of the first version of that Matter standard. Now today, there are 8 device types you could get a Matter compatible device for, at least once companies start selling them. And there are 9 device types that will be added to Matter in the next year or so. The reason I'm telling you this is because with those 8 device types, we've seen a fairly good split between companies that have said they will upgrade existing devices and companies that have said they will release new versions in order to gain Matter compatibility. So the history is already that a lot of products will not get an upgrade to Matter. And it's hard to tell which ones will get upgraded, especially when you look at a company like Nanoleaf, who have been charging through the teeth for their lighting products, and then them coming out recently and saying they won't be updating any of those past products. So on my list is anything Nanoleaf is selling today. I'm not paying those prices in order to be left in the past, especially when you're installing those things on walls and have to repaint to take it down. But I think that it's a bigger risk to go out and spend a lot on one of those device types that are coming in the next year. So if you're looking at something like an $800 home security or camera system that you're hoping will get updated to Matter, then I think you're sorely mistaken. Right now, if I'm buying a camera, it's going to be a cheap one, and I'm going to be okay replacing that in about a year. The same thing is going to hold true for any appliance that you buy right now, and I think there are a lot of benefits to appliances getting the Matter standard and being a part of what's called the Home Connectivity Alliance. So both of those things, I would wait to come to fruition before I'm buying any appliances with smart features. Obviously, if you're not able to wait because you got a broken dishwasher, then you gotta go for it. But if you can wait, I think there might be some new versions late next year that we might all be pretty excited about for reasons of energy savings and connectivity. This is a tide that's just starting, and it's gonna be big. Which brings me to wireless access points and mesh Wi-Fi systems. We've had a lot of new releases this year, including ones from Amazon and Google, but TP-Link just announced they would have Wi-Fi 7 on their brand new series of mesh Wi-Fi products. Plus, with access points being part of those 9 device types or new device types for Matter, I want to personally wait and see what shakes out in the industry, because it feels a little bit like we're skipping a lot of the time with Wi-Fi 6 and 6E and just going to jump to 7. Of the 8 existing device types that are part of the current Matter standard, there's one that appears to have some real issues with it. What you will have noticed if you've been paying attention to the announcements from Samsung and LG is that they say, okay, our televisions are going to be Matter controllers, but they're not going to be Matter devices. I think there's a problem within the Matter standard for having that as a device type. I think something is not finished there. And so right now, if I'm looking at a television, I am not buying it based on Matter compatibility, being able to control it as part of my smart home, unless it's through the manufacturer's control system. So that's something you're going to want to think about in a bit of a different way than trying to get a Matter device, because I think it's broken. Every year, the MyQ smart garage control device goes on sale, and there are some incredible deals. So good are the deals that after failing to get my first MyQ installed on 3 different garage door openers, I bought another when the new version came out and then failed there too. But the biggest problem with MyQ is that their offerings for integration continue to change, and they have in the past charged for some of those integrations. It's just been a painful ride for people with what should have easily been the best add-on module for garage door openers. Now, if you don't know what Thread is, it's a smart home technology that allows communication for low power devices. Now, this is a Zigbee motion sensor from IKEA, but you could just as easily put Thread on this device, and it has some improvements over technologies like Zigbee in terms of latency or how fast it responds. And it's supposed to have a few benefits in terms of speed over time and a few other reasons that companies have been shifting to this, and Thread has been included in Matter. That's a contrast to Zigbee and Z-Wave those technologies are not included, so a lot of the industry appears like it's headed towards Thread. However, Thread devices made in the last year or two have been rare, and while I want to be excited about Thread and join the myriad of people extolling the virtues of that technology, there's just not enough devices out there, and this should shift, but still isn't today. We are still getting more Zigbee and Z-Wave devices than Thread, and the ones that we do have are sometimes not getting the update to Matter, inexplicably. Schlag just announced that the Encode Plus would not get Matter over Thread, despite that being previously stated. We also have the example of Nanoleaf, and Google has still not turned on the Thread radio or the Thread features for any of their smart speakers or displays. And Amazon has delayed turning on Thread in the Echo 4th generation until sometime next year. So it's just not all come together yet. But as long as you have an iOS device in your home, I can recommend anything from Eve. They have stated that all of their Thread devices will be updated to Matter over Thread. You just need that iOS device to do the firmware update, so that's why I'm saying that. Amazon just announced that 1,000 people would be laid off in their company, and that many of those people would be coming from their devices division. On top of that, they also explained that their voice assistant has been losing them up to $5 billion a year. With the world market tightening and tech companies tightening their belts, Amazon has been going through a profitability review for the last year. You've already seen some of the changes. As an Amazon Music user, they just changed that whole service to what is essentially radio, as the service is now 100% on shuffle. So while I think that we can get around the Amazon Music thing by using something called Spotify, or by getting Amazon Music Unlimited, which was Amazon's goal, there is some new risk when buying Amazon products. And I think that we need to wait and see how this shakes out a little bit. But the risk isn't equal. When you're looking at all of Amazon's smart home products, I don't think that we're going to see changes with Fire TVs or the Eero routers or the Ring security systems, but I think the risk is high when we talk about Blink. Blink is a budget level camera company, and although they've had some better products recently, I still think that this is a lineup that Amazon can do without. And in a profitability review, that budget level product is likely the one to go, at least from my perspective. So I'm definitely not picking up anything Blink, and I will be having a second look at some of the wearables and the Halo series from Amazon because they were part of those cuts. Health and wellness and a few other services from Amazon were cut down. All of this feels a little doom and gloom, but it's not all that way, and I will continue to buy products from makers that are guaranteeing the Matter standard updates that I want to see. And I will be continuing to buy products that work with Samsung SmartThings because that's my primary platform in my home for automation. So I have no problems continuing to buy Zigbee and Z-Wave products here, and I'm excited for the introduction of Thread and Matter here. Now, if you want to learn about a bunch of products that will begin to get Matter, then check out the video that's up on screen now, as it will tell you both the products and when they will get that Matter update so you can begin to get the benefits of that standard. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.